And what's happening, guys? Welcome along to another episode of 420 News. Just fix up me mic here, actually, as it's been a while. Studio's a bit all over the gaff. Boom, there we go. Hopefully coming through loud and clear to everybody out there. Yes, looks good on my side anyway, so hopefully it's good on your side too, guys. So it is Monday, guys. It's the 14th of March, and hopefully everybody's having a good Monday. I wish mine was fucking better. I wish I was coming here today as was intended with some fucking positive news. But unfortunately, it's not so positive here to report on as when I was last with you last Monday. I was filling you in on my intended plans for the weekend, but unfortunately, it did not go that way. On Monday, after leaving the show here, one of my kids had tested positive for the COVID-19. So Alexis was the first one to test positive, and then not very long afterwards, then Elijah started coming down with it as well. So I knew it was my time was my days were numbered. Not long after Elijah tested positive, then myself and his mum tested positive also. So that was a major bummer, because that happened on Monday. I tested positive on was a Tuesday. So it was a real kick in the nuts, because that meant I couldn't go to Spanibus. I had the flights booked and everything, apartment booked, the whole lot ready to the rock and roll, and unfortunately, come Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever it was, we had to abandon the plans. But luckily enough, the guys at the Cannabis Activist Alliance, many of the members there still managed to make the trip over. They've shared some of the photos there of their trip over on some of their social media pages. I'll pop them up on screen here now. There we go. We'd get their photos up on screen. All the guys were sharing lots of photos. I was heartbroken to be looking at them. It really was, because there were some amazing people over there, in fairness, at the Spanibus. Kev, or Amy as well. Yeah, Amy got up some of the photos there as well over on her Endo with Amy page. Sorry, no, guys, just getting some of these photos up here in the background. But yeah, it looked like they had an absolute ball. Like, from the time they arrived, the cannabis was just flown. The guys, before they arrived, I believe that there was like 100 grams of bubblegum that they had ordered. But bubblegum wasn't available, so they ended up, I think, getting some mango kush, which was sounds quite nice as well, doesn't it? Have we seen any photos there now in that chat? Yes, there we are. So hopefully the guys don't mind me playing these there for you. Boom, there we go. Some of the videos from the guys. This is inside one of the clubs over there, as you can see. Nice lounge type environment, nice couches and stuff like that. Some decent tunes there as well, and some fine looking bud. Like, this is how it should be, to be fair. Like, I should have been over there enjoying that experience and broadcasting this back here to you, just show you, what life is like on other places on this planet, where people who consume cannabis are actually treated like real human beings. We're not treated like fucking criminals. So this is at the entrance there to Spanibus. There's the back of one of the guys' heads. Never mind this. There we go. Where's the guys? There's the guys. Some of the Cannabis Activist Alliance members there. There you might recognise Kev from R420 Supplies. And then we got some of the other members there. Won't mention any names in case they don't want their names to be going out there. But we all know Amy there in the background with that lovely old smile on her face. Happy out that she's able to get access to her cannabis and not be a criminal as a result of doing so. And a nice happy smile there by the other member of the Cannabis Activist Alliance. Happy smile or a stone smile? That looks like a big stone smile, alright. We've met Charlene in the past as well, guys. Charlene with the major protest crew. Also a part of the Cannabis Activist Alliance over there, living her up with the guys. Look at that. Ah, for God's sake.
What are they doing there? They give him...
You go back?
Yeah, but...
I so wish I was over there enjoying some of that stuff.
There? They give him what? Yeah, but...
Look, not to worry, as well, I feel like crying her over it and all that. Like, it's no use crying over spilt milk. Fucking milk is spilt now, that's it, that's done. Onwards and upwards we go from there. I do have it on my my plan, my list of things to do. I will be getting over to Barcelona very soon. One way or another, I'm going to be getting over there and enjoying some of these clubs and what they have to offer. So my intentions are, there's some cheap flights heading out there, maybe in April. €40 return as well, so super cheap. Get over there for maybe a day or two, get over, try out some of these clubs, get to meet some of the vendors at the clubs, some of the proprietors of the clubs, and some of the other activists over there as well on the ground in Spain. Some of the people I wanted to meet at Spanibus, you know, were Albertillo, some of the FedCat members. So that's the kind of the Cannabis Activist Alliance, I suppose, of Spain, really. But they're a lot more active over there because they actually have clubs, like as we see here in these videos. But yeah, that's all that the guys had up there. Savage though. Kev had a few more things up in his as well. You know, there was some nice photos there from the apartment and stuff like that. A few little touristy sightseeing ones. But here's more insides of cannabis clubs over there. And they're like, you know, like a poker table, but not just any poker table, it's a dabber poker table. Look at all those dabbing rigs there up in that poker table. In fairness, like, you know, you're going to be waiting a long time for that hand to go around anyway. Like, it's just kind of like, guys, whose turn is it again? It's going to be a lot of forgetful moments if everybody's got a little dabbing rig at the poker table. But even the guys at some dabs going there, I seen a video of Amy doing some dabs there and all the other night. Looked like some serious fun being had. Nice gaff as well. Like, you're looking at, and I talked about this as well the last day. You look at this environment here. You know, you got a lot of like-minded people there. You know, people of all interests, but one thing's for sure, they all like cannabis. You know, and there's an opportunity there for you again to make friends that. Here in Ireland, we don't have that opportunity to, you know, we've got no place we can go and lounge about like this. You know, imagine being able to go into an environment on your Todd and for it to be full of some other people in there, you know, who share an interest, i.e. cannabis, and you could have a little conversation, you know, share a joint, share a coffee or whatever. Before you know it, it's just like, oh yeah, I got a new friend for fucking life. Whereas here in Ireland, the model prohibition, you know, most likely, guy's probably just going to try to rob you or something like that if you go and... Try to get him to buy cannabis for you off the street, you know. Some cool artwork as well on the walls over there. So as I said, you know, I was hoping to have a load of content from Spanibus, but unfortunately I didn't. So I'm sharing the guys and sharing Kev's, Amy's and all of their stuff instead. What's Amy got over on hers? Anything happen up on Amy's? Waiting for the dinner. End up with Amy. Amy was rocking her over there as well, I heard. She danced her legs off. There we go, Spanibus, a little story reel thing. And she's got it loaded on up. Joints galore. Yes, rocking the raw hat as well. Can't say I'm definitely not a fan of those bowl hats though. Oh, what do we miss there? Oh, munchies. No cannabis. We want to just see cannabis photos. Oh, that's loud. So there, yeah, it's just kind of convention vibes. Smoking doobies, walking around a convention. Go on, Amy. Blaze one up there. Oh, 420 fast buds. Spin the wheel, win some seeds, I'd imagine. Man, that's so funny, actually. Looking at this guy brings back memories. Shout out to my cousin Ozzy, man. Rest in peace. But he had a guy like this, exactly like this, up in his room. Many happy days up there, playing blood PlayStation, tapping joints into the Bob dude holding the grass trunk. Nice. Some live beats out. The boys with the tunes back again. Yup. Come on, Amy Garland. Yup. Amy got a new bestie and all over a Spanibus.
I've been dancing for hours straight. Now we have a bit of dubstep.
Come on, Amy kid.
And bongos.
Dubstep and bongos, huh? Oh man, I missed a hell of a weekend.
Filthy dubstep.
Legend.
It's extremely safe to say that I had the time of my fucking life today. Because I'm probably going to all over every cannabis media video or whatever, because I parked myself in front of the band for hours and I just danced for hours.
Yup, come on, Amy.
Yeah, enjoy that.
Legend.
Can't see a fucking thing, look. Ah, stop. Doesn't matter.
Your medication makes me high. Just be patient.
Get pulled for the tunes. Loving it though. Monster Energy drinks, CBD Monkey drinks. That's just 1:45, man. As I said, I missed a hell of a weekend.
To retail as well.
Guys back at the clubs. So this is just a Spanibus watch, guys, in case you're just tuning in there now. We're looking through Endo and Amy's Instagram stories.
Instagram versus reality.
All of them, everybody just stoned. There's not much talking going on. Everybody's just around looking at the phones, getting photos. I think Amy just nearly fell over. Oh, I think I might smoke this fatty. Amy looks mashed.
Now, I have a joint and stuff that I want tonight.
That's a fatty, Amy. She's going green.
Dangerous.
Oh look, the lads have got the laser thermometer yoki there, checking the temperature of the what would you call that, the quartz nail for the dabbing rig. So technical, Amy, yeah, it's so technical.
You ready? Oh, you ready? You don't want to watch it, yeah?
Almost there, guys, almost there.
He's like, I don't want to watch what we're doing it.
We'll give a shout out to everybody in the comments there in a couple of seconds. Finish off these last one or two little stories from Amy's video. Nice. Should have lowered them up with a few Martins worth of stickers before they left. There we go. Toke, 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 toke. So there we go. That's Spanibus via Amy's Instagram stories. Right. So yeah, that was the crack there. So over in Spanibus. Just quick shout out to everybody in the comments. 1 second, guys. Boom. Oh, I see Temple Growers out there. What's happening, TG? Teresa, what's happening? Teresa, you still got those big stony face on you? But still getting all the photos and videos together. We were so blazed the whole time, as you should have been, rightly so. Shauna D, what's happening? Says sorry you missed out on your trip. Same happened in our house. Kids got COVID and we all got it. Stay medicated. Yep. Lucky to have my medication. Got me through that dark week. Teresa's highly recommending Pirate Monkey here as well, so I'll have to put that one down on the list of places to visit once I get over there. So Teresa, she says I think I got some of their info and I gave them all ours. Happy days. GB, what's happening, GB? Sorry we didn't get to catch up there earlier, GB. I see you were running. I meant to reply there to your message, but was a bit caught up with stuff myself. Others out there, only 10 likes, folks. Tut, yes, give out to them there, GB. Nice one. Sort out that hot box, guys. Hit that like button. More importantly, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and give it a old share there as well. Sure, text your mammy about it as well and tell your mammy there that Martin's online. He's streaming live again, that fella. Noel Milan, what's happening? Says, making me homesick from Turner's Cross in Fermanagh. Can you help hook me up when I'm down in May? Not a bother at all, Noel. Let me know when you're coming down, man. And yeah, we look after you as best as we can anyway. Can't make any promises, but we will do our best. Dave says, Barney's farm has some of the best genetics I've ever got. The stuff grows like it's on rides. And blooms buds the size of apples. I grew pineapple chunk and red diesel specifically. Yeah, nice genetics, alright, coming out of Barney's farm, in fairness. Paired with the right grower, wondrous things can happen. Oh, see, Temple Growers looking forward to the pink kush from him. Nice. And yeah, fuck, I want to go to Spanibus. But come here, TG. Like, you're like, I suppose, like, yeah, it's a change of scene and all of that for you, like, but you'd have to imagine, like, over in Canada, like, you got a spoil for choice there, like, you just hop just across the border there, and you got like all of this crap going on down in down there for like you got all those cannabis cups happening over there as well, which got to be epic as well. I would love to go over and do my time at one of those cannabis cups. Like the Emerald Cup, I think, is one of them. There's a couple of them over there. It used to always be before. It was funny how it kind of happened. But it used to always be about the Amsterdam Cannabis Cup. I always wanted to go over and be a judge of that. And one year I was going to do it, and that was the year the bloody thing got raided. We never ended up getting over there. It was I can't remember why. I was going to go do it the next year. I was like, yes, definitely going to do it the next year. And then it got raided that year. I remember the whole thing got shut down, and then it was never the same after that happened. And I think, just whatever went on there between the event coordinators, they just were like, yeah, fuck Amsterdam now. Yep, they wrecked that one. I think like Cypress Hill and shit like that were up on stage and stuff. Next, like a load of cops just come in and bust the whole bloody thing up. It was a real bummer. It was really kicking the nuts over there for the kind of the scene in Amsterdam, really, because I think after that then the American scene really just started kind of gathering traction, and the establishment of the Cannabis Cup then over there was the thing. But yeah, again, TG. I'm sure like getting over to Spanibus, like as great as it would be, I'm sure you got many better places over there that'll be easier for you to get to. Just looking down through next year for sure. John Finnegan says, "Go on, you legend, Amy." Amy is a legend, in fairness. And if you haven't seen it, guys, check out the interview with Amy Brown. I interviewed Amy there a couple of months back. Absolute pleasure to have her on, and know that I'll have her on again in the not too distant future. GB says his G13 Haze from Barney's Farm, I'd imagine you're on about, is Savage. Nice. Happy days. Gonna blaze this thing up here. Yes. Crystalline Entity and some of Daily Talker's hash. Nice one, Daily Talker. Oh, where are we on the 2J giveaway, actually, guys? I forgot to keep an eye on the subscriber count. Have we done it? I don't think we did. We actually went going backwards. I don't know what happened over there. No, is there like YouTube keeping an eye on us? Just to see me getting too many followers the last day. Yeah, look, it's after stepping us back a bit. Like, look at this crap. That's what's going on out there, guys. Who's unsubscribing? Who's doing this? We were at 1,986 the last time we were talking about it. Now there's like 1,985. Now, in fairness, guys, I will put up my hands and take my share of the blame in that. I've had a great deal of inactivity, I suppose, compared to how active I was about maybe 2 months ago. Within the last 2 months, I just had a lot of shit on my plate to be dealing with. Outside of, dealing with the problems Prohibition brings in my life, you got other things to deal with there, stuff that I don't really disclose here because to respect other people's privacy that I interact with within my life. I can't share every fine detail of it because then that's invading other people's privacies. So I have to respect that. But over the last 2 months, there was definitely, I suppose, a bit of a step back in my own level of activity. But hopefully, again, going forward now, as we kind of come closer to April, as we get closer to 420, and as we go into the warmer months now, as we head into spring now, as we hopefully clear the last of the frost there within the next few weeks, and the feed the bird stuff, hopefully, again, I'll be afforded more opportunity to get a lot more active like I was before, so we can challenge these laws, because it has to be done. It fucking has to be done. Homegrown says, "Get me the details, mate. I'll contact her." Nice. Endo with Amy on Instagram, Mackie, if you want to get in touch with her. She's an absolute legend. Suffers with endometriosis. An absolute cannabis warrior, or endo warrior, I think is the term. Did you go to Spanibus, Martin? No, I didn't, man. I caught the COVID. No. Fucking Rona, man. Blocked me. Got Spanibus blocked. COVID blocked. I don't know what the term is. GB, no worries, Martin's World. Unfortunately, it was turn and burn day left allowed. We shall do it again soon, no doubt. Not a bother at all, GB. Yeah, TG says that's true, I suppose. Hemfest is decent in Emerald Cup for sure. I just also want to go to Spain. Yeah, well, there you go. Like, you know what I mean? Camp 8 Spain's a beautiful bloody place. Like, Martin Teach just has the go to grow rat to be spoiled for choice. Yeah, hopefully TG can get over here next year and we can all go to Spanibus together. Fucking won't be catching no COVID next year. We'll be bloody living in a bubble 2 weeks before it. Casa, what's happening out there? Casa says, went to Amsterdam CC in 009, Cannabis Cup in 09, and saw Barrington Levy live. Was all a blur. I'm sure it was a blur, alright. Spoiled you are, dude. I never was lucky enough to get over there for the Cannabis Cup. I got over there a week after the Cannabis Cup one year. But I was never actually over there during the Cannabis Cup, unfortunately. And as I said, the year I was intending to go and I didn't. That was the year it was bloody shut down. Man, $600 round trip there. Temple Grower saying for him to get to Spain. I was looking at it there, TG. For myself, it's only €40. €40 return there to Barcelona from Dublin at the end of April. For nothing, like, in fairness, you barely get to Dublin for that from Cork. You won't even get the train to Dublin from Cork, actually, for that, like, unless you're getting a student ticket. And I got to give a big shout out there as well to MB Sanchez, absolute legend, epic support there. Thanks very much, MB. Really do appreciate it. Here's some fuel money for court rides and all of that. Fuel prices. Fuel prices are quite crippling, alright, that is for sure. And yes, I do have an upcoming court date as well. That is in 9 days' time, actually. It's the 23rd of this month. So that's Wednesday next week. So I'll be back up in front of the judge for the one cannabis joint that I purposely went into the guard station with. So that's happening next month. Or that's happening this month, later this month. So much appreciated there, MB. John Finian says, Frank Fian and Stephen Donnelly unsubscribed to Feckers. No, but they're like paid memberships and all. They're paid up for the year, John. They love the content I put out, apparently. And welcome back to the hot box there as well, Podge. It's just nice to see you out there, dude. And fingers crossed there, man. I'll get an old candle light in there for you later on, man. That the health continues to stay on the mend. Yeah, €40, TG. Big difference, $600, isn't it? But at the same time, like, I suppose you are flying halfway across the world. Gonna have to make an effort to get over to Canada as well. What's the story with a holiday visa over there? When's the best time to come? Is there any good kind of cups or anything like that? A big festival that are worth visiting. Get myself and GB there. We'll travel over together and be travel buddies. Yes, I see that there as well. Casas Drogas intending to go to Amsterdam this year for 420. I'll see what I can do there actually on 420 Casa. I will be up in Dublin that day for a protest, but there's a late flight out of Dublin that evening. Could catch you over there for 420. We'll see. Ain't make no promises. We'll have a look at the old itinerary there later and we'll see what we can fit in. We'll get something booked though so we can set it in stone. That's true actually as well. Cassidus Drugas having an unfortunate experience there recently travelling through Canada. But he's saying here in the hot box that Canada is done, man. It's a dictatorship now. I don't know. How do you feel about that, TG? Do you feel like leaving? Do you want to move on over here to Europe? Do you want to put down some roots over here in Ireland or maybe in Spain? But yeah, it's definitely some messed up stuff going on over there. That is for sure. And it was funny enough actually because wasn't your man what's his face fucking Trudeau? He was only on there not too long ago talking about like dictatorships and he was really like laying it into Russia. But it was kind of funny that like he was saying some of the stuff that he was saying in complete ignorance to what he had just done himself only like 2-3 weeks earlier, 4 weeks earlier, in terms of shutting down people's bank accounts, spreading misinformation about protesters, muddying the narrative about what's going on, spreading it. It's funny. Yeah, GB says fucking great idea, Martin. Next year for the win. Nice, Podges. I think they're getting into the over to the dam as well. let's travel together, Podge, man. Let's do it. I'm hoping to catch up with Cass over there. Cass is going to be there on the 20th. I'm definitely going to be there on the 21st, but I'm looking at maybe a late flight there on the 20th. So if you want to do it, let's make plans. Flights ain't too expensive from Dublin right now. Robert's asking, did anyone ever get dabs online? I wouldn't recommend it unless you're buying it maybe from a reputable vendor, if they even exist. I'm not too sure. But again, maybe using something like a dark web and getting something from a trusted vendor up there, or a verified trusted vendor. That's probably one way of doing it. From Instagram and the likes of that, I would be cautious. There's a few of them out there. Off the top of my head, I can remember your man Godfather Meds. He was alright. The guys, I meant the guys above in Dublin as well. Swords Buds, they were alright. But again, like there's two people in a sea of what's thousands, I suppose, potentially, like, trying to sell you shit. And is it what you really want? Yep, so many scams online, that's for sure. Hey, what's happening, Green Tea? Welcome to the 420 news. Yeah, we do actually have some news there for you today. It's coming out of Ireland. I'm just looking at it there last night. There we go. We'll pop it up on screen there for you. So this was breaking there just towards the end of last week. Guy got caught with just shy of 160,000 euros worth of cannabis. This is above in the north, Dublin. This is a man said to be in his 20s. So young enough for a person. Again, 160 grand's worth of cannabis. Supposedly supposed to get in a 10-year minimum mandatory, but look, we all know how that really plays out. But it's an unfortunate incident here, because you compare this crime, 160,000 euro worth of cannabis. You're kind of thinking, oh, that's a lot of cannabis, but like there was an acid attack down here in Cork over, was it last weekend? I think it was, yeah, last weekend out in the south side there. I think it was out in Bishopstown. Somebody got acid in their face, like just thrown into their face. I think that person is going to be blind now, either in one eye or both eyes. It's a horrible, it's a vicious attack like that happened. But you know what, the maximum sentence that person can get for that crime is 5 years, while the minimum mandatory here is supposed to be 10 years for this crime. So it's kind of funny. It's upset. It's rather sad, really. Like, that a person can get more time for cannabis than they can for throwing acid in the face of another human being. Like, if somebody throws acid in your face, like, it's like, surely that should be a 10-year minimum mandatory. Like, surely, like, if there's ever a crime you would want to deter from happening, it's throwing acid in the face of another person. And surely you do that with like a minimum mandatory of fucking 10 years, and it gets applied in every incident, like, that happens. Somebody throws acid in somebody's face. That's just not an accident that can happen too easily. What are you doing walking down the road with a bloody bottle of acid? It's like, come on. It's such an easy one to get people on as well, like, in fairness. But unfortunately, there's going to be more time spent by our cops out there deterring people from engaging in the consumption of a bit of cannabis than there is out there to deter people from throwing bloody acid in one another's faces, Mad. So that's coming out of Dublin, and yeah, another waste of time, resources, going into enforcing this prohibition of cannabis. The man who was actually arrested above in Dublin with the 160,000 worth of cannabis was 22 years of age. 22, like. 10 years to be 32 by the time he gets out, like. That's sad, like. But meanwhile, then, like, you look over in America, and there's people making millions off of this industry. There's people, there's hundreds of thousands of people. There's like already almost 500,000 people employed in the industry over in the US at the moment. And meanwhile, we're still over here like locking people up. destroying cannabis, sending the guards out, busting people's doors down, you know, invading people's properties, privacy and all of that stuff, like ruining the lives of young people. For what, like? For what? There's an interesting one that's coming out of Dublin as well. I'll be the next Black Lives Matter teenager resistant drugs arrest taunted Gardaí. So apparently this teenager, 15 years of age apparently, says a 15-year-old drug dealer. Like, there's something wrong with that. Like, a 15-year-old drug dealer. Like, why is there 15-year-old drug dealers out there? Like, do you have 15-year-olds working in pubs? No, you don't. Why? Because there's regulations there which restrict the age of a person working behind the bar serving alcohol. A 15-year-old, yeah, they can go and work in a pub and actually collect glasses and stuff, but they can't serve alcohol because they shouldn't be handling drugs. A 15-year-old drug dealer, like that this is a failure of prohibition. This is not the doing of drug consumers. This is not the doing, you know, of anybody other than the prohibitionists who support drug prohibition that make it so easy for 15-year-olds to become drug dealers. Like, to be fair, like that's probably the easiest job for our young vulnerable kids, teenagers these days, is to become a drug dealer. It's easy, you know, you don't have the local petrol station any longer where the kids were able to go over, you know, get a job pumping petrol or, you know, going door to door, cutting grass and what have you. Like, you know, these jobs really don't exist. You know, we're going to have 100,000 more bloody Ukrainians coming over here now very soon. And again, you know, that's going to make life even more harder again. And the younger, more vulnerable people in our communities, they're only going to be preyed upon even more by, again, organised crime gangs out there who will recruit them into their ranks. And for what? For what? Like, you know, for our guards to go out there then and the heavy hand this young fella to take his €4,000 worth of cannabis off him. Like, you know, it's like, all right, yeah, the guards have got to do their job, but like, do you not see what's going on here? The cyclical nature of this, like, this 15-year-old now is just going to always hate the cops, you know. He's already been indoctrinated by the organised crime gangs that, like, you know, the cannabis is not bad. We see it in the movies, we see it everywhere. The cannabis is not really bad, you know. It's been used as a medicine, for God's sake. You know, this 15-year-old could have been selling some to people as a medicine, you know, thinking that he's doing good. And next the cop comes along and he's trying to take it off him. You know, the cop is the bad guy. It's a bad situation to have, really, isn't it? Like, you know, when young people are growing up in such a situation, you know, they shouldn't be like engaging in this kind of behaviour. They shouldn't be having these kind of scuffles with the cops. Shouldn't be happening, to be fair. Like, cannabis should be sold, come on, in fairness, by a reputable retailer, somebody who's over the age of 18, you know. It should be only sold to people aged over the age of 18, or whatever the appropriate age is chosen by the regulators is. I would be saying 18, as that's what alcohol is, and tobacco. But anyway, it goes the boy who's now 17, who is not black. What? I'll be the next Black Lives Matter, and he's not even black. All right, fair enough. He's a little bit brown, maybe. Stop. He says he denied possessing drugs for supply and obstruction charges following the incident 300 metres from Dublin's Kevin Street Garda station, and this was back in July 2020, so over 2 years ago. It says, however, the schoolboy was found guilty following a contested hearing at Dublin's Children's Court. So again, you know, it's like going through the courts and everything over this is like, come on, in fairness, the lad should have been brought home to his parents, and it's like, look, we caught him with a bit of cannabis there. Have a word there with your young fella, and like, John, make sure we don't catch him out there with cannabis again, because, you know, we're gonna have to bring him home again. Because that's what they do with alcohol. Like, if you get caught with alcohol, the cops will just bring you home to your parents, to bring you back to your legal guardian, whoever that might be, who's in charge of you. You know, they don't bring you to court if you get caught with alcohol as a minor. Like, I never did as a young person. We got awful chases off the cops before when we used to be out bushing, and got caught once or twice. You just get brought home, and it's embarrassing. It's annoying. Your mum and dad kill you, like, you know. But this is like, it's appropriate going to court. Imagine being brought to a judge because, you know, the cops caught you with a, you know, nag and a vodka or a few bottles of bud there when you were like 16, 17. a bit scary, I suppose. Like, but come on, getting a criminal record, being treated like a criminal, is it beneficial for you? Was it really criminal behaviour that you're actually engaged in, or are you just fucking, kids doing things that you weren't really supposed to be doing? But isn't that the kind of way anyway? It says the boy was accompanied to court by his mother and was remanded on bail for a pre-sentence report to be prepared. It said Garda Mark Kelly told the court he was in a lane in an area known as a cabbage patch in Dublin 8. He heard a male's voice getting closer, shouting, I have that, I'll be around in a minute. The boy came around the corner with a plastic bag, with plastic bags bulging under his jacket. He could see an organic material inside suspected was cannabis. The teenager shimmied away from Garda Kelly and his colleague, and one of the bags fell bursting on the ground. Oh, what a heartbreaker. They went to the ground during the struggle, and the boy shouted, I'm epileptic and I can't breathe. Garda Matthew Kennefick said the accused had bags of cannabis stuffed into his jacket and continued to lash out. He pulled the boy's jacket over his mouth when the youth made a spitting sound and tried to bite him. Alright, that's not good, dude. But again, look at the situation that the young fella's in. He feels like he's fighting for his fucking life. These cops want to catch him with his cannabis and wreck his future and what have you. So he feels like he's fighting for his life. So he does feel like he needs to lash out. He feels like he's going to bite. Like, the desperation is there. And it's an unfortunate situation then that our guards are put in such a dangerous situation needlessly to enforce the unenforceable prohibition of cannabis. It's unenforceable. Like, I'm sitting there with my little doobie, it's like, come on, like, it's failed. In fairness, like, it's failed. Put the regulations in place and let's stop wasting our time playing these bloody games, in fairness, like. It says, the court heard that 38 deal bags of cannabis were found, and these were said to be worth about €4,000. In his interview, he claimed he was not dealing, but he had to carry the cannabis to pay a drug debt. Says cross-examined by the counsel, the Gardaí said the three of them fell to the ground but denied punching the boy. Gardaí found €550 in the boy's phone cover, which they seized. Says the boy, who can't be identified because he's a minor, did not testify during the hearing, and the judge heard the teenager had no court convictions but had been given 5 cautions under the Garda Juvenile Diversion Programme. So this dude's been in trouble in the past a few times, what are the cautions for? What was he up to? Was it a bit of, what are they called? ASBOs, antisocial behaviour orders. I don't know what the situation is with the other cases like, but again, €4,000 worth of cannabis, 15-year-old drug dealers, failure from prohibition if ever. So there you go, that's coming out of the Irish courts. I'm not too sure what was the end of that court case. They didn't actually reach a conclusion or all, did it? No. Oh, probation report or something like that, yeah, back before the courts after they make up some sort of a report. Again, man, just like over 2 years ago, and it's like 2 years later and the lad's still being dragged before the courts over that, like. It's like, come on, he's 17 now. Like, imagine how much he's changed now over that 2 years period, and he's still been dragged back before the court. Being reminded of what a fuck up he kind of he made back when he was 15. It's like, come on, it's 2 years on. Let's move on. Daily Talker didn't get a notification. Bummer. Tinkle Tink says, are the guards afraid of cannabis? Yeah. Scaremonger to the last. Hey, what's happening, Robert? Can you give me some advice when ordering dabs online? Oh yeah, we discussed that there a little bit earlier. Casa de Stroga says, no, but they are afraid of real criminals, so they like to pick on children. There you go. I would kind of agree with that as well, actually, Casa. In fairness, that's my experience. You're inside in the courts and you see the people who are up before the courts, especially for cannabis charges. When I was in there as a younger person, like the people who I was up in front of the courts were majority of the time about the same age as myself, or are not there far from. Like if you were to kind of look at it in a bar chart, It's like 80-90% of the people would have been like under 35, let's say, you know, or even, you know, you could actually say about like a good 75 to 80% of them would have been under 25. And then you could have fucking said like up to 90% would have been under 35. And then everybody else was kind of out in the outer brackets. You know, you weren't seeing too many people in their like 40s, 50s getting brought to court for like personal cannabis charges. What's that about? That is like, are they trying to say that the people in their 40s and 50s aren't consuming cannabis? Maybe they're less likely to be carrying around the place with them. But also, are they less likely to be stopped and searched because, you know, they're a bit older, they're a bit more mature, and again, you know, as Casa says, like the cops do like to pick on children. They like to pick on people that they feel like they can intimidate into emptying their pockets at, you know, little commands, you know, empty your pockets there. Yeah, no problem, Garrett, no problem, I've nothing. You know? I can hear the little man crying. Just looking at, I know I had some more positive news coming out of there as well. Just having a look through my notes there again from earlier. Here's a Cork man living alone decided to grow cannabis during a COVID lockdown. And what better thing to be doing, in fairness? Like, you know, we were all being told to stay at home. It's like, yeah, I'm going to stay home, grow some cannabis. And this is like, all of a sudden, then you got fucking the local cop force kicking in your door. You got like 20 people in your gaff, and you're just like, come here, guys, I'm supposed to be social distancing here. I'm trying to stay home, you know, limit my interactions. And it's like, no, you're not. You're growing cannabis and you're a criminal, and COVID doesn't apply to you right now. So this is the case coming out of Cork. Sorry, I was trying to find some more positive news, but this one came to my attention. This is the case, and it gives the guy's name here. 30 years of age, living from over in Mahon. The cops found 7 cannabis plants in his property, I believe it was. Said he decided to grow during the COVID lockdown, but the Gardaí caught him long before the plants reached maturity and prosecuted him for the cultivation of the illegal drugs. Yeah, so it was like 7 cannabis plants. They said that the plants were worth 5,000, or was it 8 plants actually, was it? No, 7 cannabis plants were found when Gardaí with a warrant, yeah. So 5,600, but if it was 7 by 8, is that 5,600? Yeah, it is actually, yeah. Never mind. The sergeant explained the valuation of the cannabis was based on their value at maturity, but obviously that doesn't apply to our buddy old Tony Keogh. Says in this case the plants were beginning to grow. We go by their potential yield at maturity. The grower there is the owner of the house. The cannabis plants were in a room upstairs. They were in 2 grow tents. These items were seized, and the person in question was arrested and questioned. He said he was growing it for his own personal use, that he smoked most days. He had one previous conviction for Section 3 of the Misuse of Drugs Act, having relating to his personal use of drugs back in 2013, for an incident in 2012 for which he was fined. Our old buddy Frankie Budimer, solicitor here in this case, said that this 30-year-old single man living alone was diagnosed with depression. His family circumstances are that he's very much bereft of family intervention insofar as this case is concerned. The Gardaí entered his property and discovered this growing operation. They discovered 7 plants. 6 of the plants are a very limited level of maturity. One of them is approaching some level of maturity. He was using cannabis at the time and grew it rather than purchasing cannabis on the market. He had no money. All he intended to do was use it for himself. He was in a lockdown situation because of COVID-19. He was living alone. It was something he decided to do unsuccessfully as it transpires. He is under the care of his GP. He is no longer involved in the cannabis activity. He is giving it up. And the judge said, I'm going to have to test him on that one. So obviously calling into question, the legitimacy of what that man said, and i.e. that he was giving up cannabis. The judge, Judge King, directed a probation report to include 2 random urine analysis tests at the probation service's behest, but at the accused's own cost. The judge said she would adjourn the case for 3 months for that purpose. So again here, while the guy's going to be paying for the test himself, it's like, what a waste of time. The guy's got to produce 2 clean urine sample tests. He's got to go through this whole probation report for what? He was just growing a bit of cannabis for his own use. In fairness, look at TG. TG's over there in Canada, where this is perfectly normal. Like that would have been a perfectly normal thing for a person to do, is to stay home, grow their own cannabis, limit their interaction throughout the lockdown. Fucking Seth Rogen was on there saying, Netflix and chill, get a bit of cannabis and chill and watch Netflix. That's the best thing people could have done throughout the lockdown. The government should have been incentivizing people to be growing their own cannabis. And unfortunately, no, it was like, well, we'll allow alcohol, but God forbid you start growing your own cannabis, we're going to kick in your door. Such was the case in this sad situation, man. So that's coming out of Cork, where a guy got caught growing cannabis. There was something out of Australia actually recently. There we go. Yes, this was an article, and I believe this was shared actually by yourself. You still out there, GB? GB is still out there. I think it was yourself that was going through this one actually the other day, GB. Was it medical cannabis being used by tens of thousands of Australians as access becomes easier? Now, I don't know if there's any Australians out there who will, concur with this, but it's an interesting one anyway. There's tens of thousands of people accessing cannabis. And using it. It was an article that was published there on the 11th of March, so just earlier there on, was it just Friday, yeah. But it starts off here that it was late 2020 when David decided to talk to his GP about getting a prescription for medical cannabis. He's been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, a condition characterised by widespread pain and tenderness in the body, and had been mostly self-medicating with cannabis he'd bought illegally. And fibromyalgia is quite debilitating, as described here by David. And who was it on? It was Jen Devlin. Jen Devlin also, another one of the fibro warriors here in Ireland. She talks about how cannabis is incredibly beneficial for her and her condition. And she's doing that illegally here in Ireland. Unfortunately for her, like I'd imagine, there's days when she can't get access to her cannabis because just the inconsistency, the expense that there is there. It's unfortunate, and you look around in other places in the world, then and just treat people with fibromyalgia like normal patients, and it's just like, would you like to use cannabis as a medicine? Here you go. There you go. That's for you, because we're fucking rational, humane people, and that's what we should be doing for one another. Shouldn't be questioning a person. When they say, okay, cannabis helps me and it reduces my pain. It's like, oh no, you just want to get high. It's like, what a cunty thing to do, to be fair, like. But it goes on to say anyway that fibromyalgia causes random pain spots in the body. David describes here, my shins will be numb and then I just feel like they're on fire at the same time. The condition, which can be difficult to diagnose, is often accompanied by fatigue and altered sleep, memory and mood. And you'd imagine that's understandable too, if you're in an awful lot of pain all the time, if you've got like these random onsets of pain in different spots in the body, that's going to interfere with your ability to sleep. It's going to distract you, it's going to interfere with your ability to form memories, because, you're constantly just thinking about the pain. And again, your mood then therefore as a result, because you're always forgetting shit and, you can't sleep either. Like, so, of course all these things are going to be affected because of the pain. So next, you give somebody cannabis, and that can take away that pain, and next afford them an ability to sleep better, and therefore an ability to remember things better, and therefore improved mood. It's like it's a win-win for not only the patient but for everybody else around the patient, because I don't know if you're a person who's familiar with a person who suffers with chronic pain, and how easily agitated those people can be when they're in flare-ups and stuff like that. They bite your fucking head off. Like, if you were to say the wrong thing to them, at the time when they're in pain. Hell, women there, once a month, I'm sure, there's some women get there that time in a month, can be quite fucking really bad for them. And they too, they can be they can benefit from this and not have to rely on some of the other more damaging drugs like ibuprofen and stuff like that. But anyway, David, and it's not his real name, said he was feeling constantly fatigued, struggling to manage his illness alongside work and taking care of his disabled partner. By about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I just wanted to fall asleep, he said. After getting the green light from his GP, David began using cannabis oils and herbal products, and he found they helped to mask the symptoms of fibromyalgia and improve his sleep. Eventually, his body adjusted and he was able to have just very small amounts of cannabis, he said. Oh, excuse me. It allowed me to work and go about my day, go for a walk, or do whatever I need to do. It's just like, that's exactly what patients need. It's like a return to normality within their life, and a return. Guys, like again, rest in peace. To what's his name? Founder of Mad Pride Ireland. Jesus, his name is eluding me right now. Looney, was it Michael Looney? Crap, his name's eluding me right now. He suffered, I believe, with motor neurons disease, actually, as I done the Ice Bong challenge that time in his honour, in his memory. But I can't even remember his bloody name now. Should put down the doobie, actually. This is like maybe a problem. Jokes. But again, he talked about the fact that when he had access to cannabis, he was able to get up, and the dignity that was restored to his life by being able to just go to the toilet himself, to be able to make a cup of tea himself, be able to make a fucking sandwich himself, and cannabis gave him that ability. He sadly has left this earth, but before he left, he did leave his mark there in the cannabis community, and he gave a hell of a speech there outside of Bishop Lucy Park in the city there many years ago. I still remember it to this day, and it's inspired me an awful lot. Again, check out that Ice Bong video if you haven't seen that Ice Bong video. Might pop it up there in a minute. You take a stroll down memory lane for the crack. Just looking through the rest of this article there now. It says prescriptions grow as access eases, but I don't know how true that is, to be fair. Like, I'd imagine it's probably a two-tier system over there. You got the haves and the have-nots. Probably very costly to get access to it. You probably need to have access to the right, maybe clinic, doctor, whatever the case may be over there, before you get access to it. I'm not too sure what the story may be. But yes, if you want to go and read out the rest of that article, actually, it's there's a bit left within that article, if you want to go and read it. But still, nonetheless, it is it's promising to see a headline like this. That medical cannabis is being used by tens of thousands of people over in Australia as access is becoming easier. Apparently, hopefully, there is some truth in that access is becoming easier. Patients are being afforded access to cannabis as not just as a therapy, but as a frontline therapy. That if you're a newly diagnosed chronic pain patient, and if you have a preference there to try cannabis, then go for it. Or even as your healthcare practitioner might think that cannabis might be actually more beneficial for people to try, and be willing to actually be able to recommend it as a frontline therapy too. That I think that's incredibly important. But again, still, this goes on while people are being criminalised at the same time over in Australia. I don't think in all places in Australia. I think in like places like Sydney, don't Sydney are allowed to grow like a plant or something like that, or is it like two plants and you're in the privacy of your gaff? There's like some arbitrary laws over there in certain regions within Australia, but in other places it's just like straight up, no, it's criminal, it's a narcotic. can we get the ice bong challenge? That it? No. Hey, there it is.
First off, just want to thank Karen O'Brien for the nomination. I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to do the Ice Bong Challenge, and the reason why I'm doing it like this is in memory of John McCarthy.
John McCarthy.
John was a Cork
What
man,
should I say? Michael Looney.
founder
Jeez.
of Mad Pride. And
John McCarthy.
Had, motor neuron disease, and he used cannabis.
At least
to
I got
treat
Mad
it.
Pride.
So-
Got that part right.
I just want to do this to raise awareness that cannabis is an effective treatment for symptoms of motor neuron disease and many other things. So, here we go.
Yep. That was a nice bong, actually, as well. I still have that bowl. I still have that skull. She was cold water as well.
So now
Yeah.
that's that done. First off, I want to nominate Noel.
Yeah. Noel's actually passed away as well. That was Noel Valskalk. He never did it actually either, but yeah, it is what it is. Fucking nominated Mark Emery as well. He was coming to Ireland as well later that year, and he never did it either, but sure. What can you do? Mark, you owe me an ice bong challenge, dude. That was a good that was a good weekend that weekend as well, if you were lucky enough to be there. Close that there up. Yeah. Ross Cracker Green comes in, he got his t-shirt, happy days. Yay. You worried that it wasn't going to arrive. TG says, nice man, told you Ireland just takes forever for some reason. MB Sanchez, unbelievable that being less stressed or even contended is considered to be scandalous. Yep. Podge, Ireland always 10 to 15 years behind on everything. It's all our fault, Liz, you know, to be fair, I have to say, like, you know, it's like, if you want cannabis to be legalised, you know, you're wondering why it hasn't been done so yet, you know, well, if you're still living in the cannabis closet, then you know why. Don't wait around for, you know, for somebody else to come and do it. We all got to get out and play our part. This is the year for it, like, you know, if we're ever going to do it, this is the year for it. You see change happening all around the world. How can we sit by and accept anything less than, you know, decriminalisation and some form of fucking apology for the years of abuse that we've received here as cannabis consumers? It's ridiculous. Not even us as cannabis consumers, but the patients out there as well being denied access to this as a medicine. It's ridiculous. Like, how can we sit by and allow that to happen? Because that's what we're doing, you know. If you're a person, if you know about the medical benefits of cannabis, and if you know, if you read a headline like the ones there that we covered over the, you know, the last few months, such as the elderly lady there, the woman who got the arthritis, and she was growing cannabis for her arthritis. You know, she was a mother of 3 kids, dragged before the courts. And we don't really do much about it. Like, there's nobody out there protesting about this. There's nobody out there kicking up a fuss about this. I kicked up a little bit of a fuss about it, I suppose. But yeah, what did I do after that then? I didn't really do anything. I tried to get in touch with her. I tried to reach out, but unfortunately, you know, it ends there. But it's like, no, this shit shouldn't be accepted. You know? Like, I know there's one patient out there, and he's a prominent, outspoken patient in regards to cannabis as a medicine. And he got raided. He had 3 little cannabis plants, I think it was, taken out of his property. The guy, look, I'm not even going to say it. Look, he's recovered from his condition. Cannabis was beneficial, played a big part in his recovery. But he remained silent about the treatment he got from the cops. I'll respect that. I won't blow the cover as to who that might have been or anything like that. But it's just like this is why then that we're just going to be waiting longer, because people are just they're hesitant to kick up a fuss. It's like, come on, there's like patients out there suffering. Like Alicia is stuck over in Alicante. She was told that she could be stuck there for another 5 to 10 years, I think was kind of what she was told. Like that's absolutely appalling. Like that is not acceptable. And we should not be allowing that. And if we don't do something about it, then in reality we're allowing it to remain the case. And I'm not happy about it, so I'm going to kick up a fuss. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to protest. I'm going to engage in civil disobedience. I'm going to challenge the law as much as I can, because I'm healthy. If I can touch wood that I remain healthy. I need cannabis now to help maintain a healthy body, keep away the seizures and all of that crack. But yeah, I'm fucking going to challenge this law as it's my right to do so. And everybody should be doing it, Yeah, Tinkle Tink, nice one. Mad Pride was John McCarthy, nice one. Just looking through the comments there now. Bubble Hawk, yes. Yeah, Bubble Hawk is from down in Oz as well. Yeah, I remember that from the chat actually. I can remember listening in, and I think Bubble Hawk was commenting on the price or something like that. Oh yeah, nice one, GB. JW High Powers out there as well. What's happening, JW? How you doing? JW's got another fight with the law as well coming up. Best of luck with that, JW. Up there for a little bit of personal possession, and another rather larger case of for CBD possession. Yeah. Sorry, Podge. I'll go off screen to finish it, will I? I keep going off over here. Yeah, Ross, Dr. Creamtham, yeah, we're always buying on everything. Sadly. GB says we need numbers of protests. Not just numbers, but the people who do show up, we need action, then proper action. If we're just going to march and we're going to, oh yeah, we're not criminals, and then go home at the end of it. Like, we haven't really protested then, really. We have to be properly putting her out there, you need to break an egg to make an omelette. Enough said. We ain't even cracking the eggs with some of the protests that we've been doing. Like, we've been like so nice, being out of the way, we'll stay up there, yeah, we'll oblige. The guards want us to go do our little march, get back in now, and the guards going to go and leave us there to sit down for the day. It's great. It's like, but we should have been doing more. Like, we should be fucking like, no, we should have been really challenging it. But look, onwards and upwards. Hot knives. Hey, what's happening, Mustawez? I see Mustawez just tuning in there as well. Pod Ewan and Brownies induced high. Rashers is asking. I made some fairy cakes there myself actually the other night with a bit of RSO. Quite tasty, in fairness. Got 2 more left. They're probably a little bit stale now at this stage, but they're still going to be tasty anyway later on with an old cup of tea. Tinkle Tink says, protest only hurts when you hit up where it hurts, i.e. money. There we go. Yep. And I think one way we can cost them money again, this is like this civil disobedience protest approach. If we've got like 100+ people willing to go into a Garda station on, a number of occasions across a week, then, you could quickly gather up a large amount of cases, a lot of paperwork, a lot of resources, i.e., money that has to be spent. Because resources, manpower, that's all money. That's the only way we can hit them where it hurts, money wise. Anyway, at least think. So that's where the civil disobedience comes in. That these resources that we're going to be tying up through, having your name taken and your address and all of that fun stuff. Getting a day in court to go in and do it with a CBD joint. Like go to Little Collins, go to Relief, go to the Puffin stuff, go to Med, go to Funky Skunk, go to R420 supplies, go to any of them. Get your cannabis CBD supply, get your little CBD flower, and go in with the littlest bit of CBD flower. Like, you know what I mean? Geez, all you need is a little speck, Go in with a little bit. Roll up a little doobie. Go in with a little doobie if you want. Just go in and say, this is a cannabis joint. Don't tell them it's CBD at the time. Tell them wait till you get to court. Mass protest. You're not going to get in trouble for a little bit of CBD. Come on, in fairness, like nobody should be afraid for going to go into a guard station with a little bit of CBD flower. Come on, like it'd be a very effective protest. Like I really do believe it would. Like I'm up in Dungarvan again later on this month for just very much that. So it should be fun. It's interesting because I'm not afraid of what the outcome is going to be of this. Hell, if I went in there with a few plants, I wouldn't be afraid of the outcome of that either. But sure, that's a different story. But nobody should be afraid of going in with a little bit of CBD flowers. Come on. That's what we should be doing in 420. That's what we should be doing above in Dublin. Massive civil disobedience protest. Hundreds of us going in, not just 100, but hundreds going in saying, take my name, I want to go to court for this little bit of cannabis. The guards won't know what to do. GB says, block the city for an hour, at least get it noticed. Yep. Sit down protest outside of Leinster House. Big old smoke up. Load of cannabis plants on display. Yeah, Podge says it as well. And we shouldn't either. It's like, Podge says, I have no problem giving up my freedom for the better future of others. And in reality, we shouldn't. It's, if enough of us have that commitment to the greater good, which this is the greater good, the prohibition of cannabis, that's a crime against humanity, to be fair. It's a violation of our human rights, so there you go, that's a crime against humanity. How many people have been unfairly punished under the prohibition of cannabis over the last 50 years? It's an ungodly number of people. All across the planet, to think about it, over in some certain parts of the planet, we allow them to execute people for the amount of cannabis that they get caught with. This is sad. That's sad. And we do nothing about it. Sad. John Finnegan says block Leinster Road. It is the road going into the dial. This disrupted their Yeah, MB Sanchez saying here, deprivation of a vital medicine. I'm actually working on an article at the moment, and again, I haven't even really started it for the best part. But Amy Brown was talking about it. She's doing a social care course, and she was looking at a definition of abuse within the literature of the HSE, and she was talking about it, the definition of abuse, that it's very fitting of what they're doing to the patients here in Ireland, with the way in which they're being mistreated, because there's a denial of healthcare there, and there's a mistreatment. They're questioning patients and the legitimacy of what they're saying as to the benefit, how they're benefiting from it. They're forcing patients to break a law, treating them like criminals. It's messed up. So it's not better than abuse, So that's kind of a topic of an article that's in the making at the moment. Going to be looking at that, how the prohibition of cannabis enables abuse of the very vulnerable people within our community. That's what I was looking at. Vulnerable people, i.e. patients. Vulnerable people, i.e. young teenagers, from maybe disadvantaged backgrounds, one-parent families and things like that. They're at a bit of a disadvantage there. So again, Green Bear says, we're doing better, guys, and girls 40 watching and up to 29 likes. There's 11 of you out there holding out. Cuckolders. Tinkle Tink says, you were correct, Martin. Prohibition is the biggest crime to humanity and scientific progress. So many different avenues you could explore there as to how prohibition has been a real stain, over the last 50 years and the progress of humans, because, scientific progress, that's a huge one, really. We haven't really looked into the research around, say, cannabis. We hear it, there's not enough research, blah, blah, blah. This is why there's not enough research? Because we've prohibited fucking research over the last 50 years. We could say the same about many of the other psychedelic drugs, which we're now finding out there's actually a lot of very interesting benefits to the uses of these substances. So it's really interesting, that we're really kind of seeing the true cost of prohibition. Now is again, so we talk about scientific progress, but again, how many people have been locked up who could have really offered something great for their community? How many great minds would have been locked up? Because we think about it, who Steve Jobs, Steve Jobs used, what was Steve Jobs? Used LSD, wasn't he? He talked about using LSD. Probably was a cannabis smoker as well. And imagine if Steve Jobs got caught with his bit of LSD, Steve Jobs, come on, Apple. In fairness, who else is out there? The guys Watson and Crick again, the guys who discovered the double helix DNA, along with their female colleague who doesn't really ever get really mentioned apparently. But the guys accredited that to LSD. They apparently on a trip of LSD, they kind of visualized the double helix DNA structure of our DNA. And if it wasn't for LSD, they wouldn't have discovered that. Imagine they got caught with LSD. Imagine they weren't able to bring their discovery to the forefront. Imagine how fucking setback or development would have been as humans if we didn't discover the double helix DNA structure for a bit later on. Or imagine we discovered the wrong bloody structure. We had the wrong idea for so long. Mad. But yeah, prohibition of drugs, it's prohibition of cannabis. It's just wrong. It's got to go. And we have to make a stand, guys. We just can't be afraid. Don't we should be afraid more of? We should be afraid much more of there much more than the government coming taking away your freedom and locking you up and all that. Should be afraid of prohibition lasting any longer than it needs to. That's what we should be afraid of, because imagine it has to last another 5 years. Imagine Alicia Maher has to live over in Alicante, cannot return home for another 5 years. That's wrong, guys. That's something to be a lot more afraid of. Imagine people are going to have to wait another 10 years maybe before there's going to be access to effective cannabis medicines for things like their epilepsy, things like their chronic pain here in Ireland. It's mad. No, come on, we can't be doing that. We can't. That's a scary idea for me anyway. So that's a lot scarier than a cop coming and taking me away because I've got cannabis and because I was involved in a cannabis protest. I don't know, but that's just me. MB Sanchez, stoners need more reminders. Yeah, seems like YouTube and the likes of them don't really want to be giving notifications to people as to when I'm live. Maybe there's a bit of a shadow ban going on. Let it grow, Podge, let it grow, says John Finnegan. Hazmat58 says, my daughter suggests, who am I hurting as a slogan. That's not a bad slogan at all. Yeah, no, it's true. It's who am I hurting? It's right, I'm sitting here, I got a doobie, I got some cannabis, I got some hash inside in this as well. And it's who am I hurting? It's fucking nobody. It's why should this be any business to the cops? There's possibly a Gardaí out there right now getting paid to sit down and watch this to make sure I'm not fucking doing something that I'm not supposed to be doing, i.e. this. I don't know. No, I doubt there's a cop getting paid to watch this right now. But there was cops watching this when they brought me into the Bridewell with me, and they called me a legend. They thought it was pretty good. They thought it was funny, and they thought like I had a bit of humour. There was compliments. They gave me compliments. It was funny. It was an interesting evening. That was for sure. That evening. Just looking through your comments, John Fiona. Oh, look at the big mathematical brain on it. What's that? Podge 85 Murray, like the Dulux dog with the fring over my eyes at the fringe. Yeah, Daily Talker hasn't cut his hair since the start of COVID. There's a few, not if you notice, like, but yeah, flash at the last day, but yeah, fresh old Bazar, home job. Greenbeard says, you know your trimming scissors does more than just trim leaves, guys. There you go. I would clean it with a bit of isopropyl beforehand, though, because yeah, you won't want the sticky scissors for cutting hair. Woo. Yes, blaze with pride, Marty. Yes, indeed. Shadow banning everyone these days, Marty. Yes, says Greenbeard. Yeah, I think you got hit with a bit of it there yourself over on Instagram. I was trying to search up yourself there the last day, and I didn't want to bring up your name. I had to find you through my messages. Yeah, and Podge says that they're all banning all on Instagram too. Yeah, it's a bit of a funny one, alright. Try not to pay too much attention to fucking that stuff anyway. The important thing is that all those numbers don't say 0 up there. Once I don't see all zeros, I'm not too worried. And like once there's 1 or 2 people out there enjoying the live streams, happy days, I'll continue to do it. And to be fair, there's a nice audience of you out there right now. Actually, there's what we got, 50 odd of you out there right now live. Guys, happy days. Greetings all 50 of you beautiful, wonderful people out there. Absolute legends. Nice one for tuning in, listening to me rant and waffle on about our ludicrous laws. Sharing some of the journey there of the Cannabis Activist Alliance earlier in the show, as they recently took a trip over to Spain, over to Spanibus, and got to enjoy some fucking, a bit of decency for once, where, they're not being treated like complete criminals anyway, at least. I know it's not all fucking roses and sunshine over there in Barcelona or in Spain right now, because it's still kind of illegal. But still, nonetheless, they have a tolerance where they've got these little social venues where they can go and hang out and get cannabis, and it's great. But yeah, that was earlier on in the show in case any of you missed it. Temple Grower says, fuck me, there's lemon tie. Kush smells like patchouli. Ooh. Patchouli and sandalwood. Like walking into a head shop loaded with nag champa. Nice. Yes, John Finnan says, speaking of scissor hash, and Martin coughs up half a lung. This thing is loaded up with hash anyway, nonetheless. It's not scissor hash, because scissor hash is fucking rocket fuel right now, in fairness. But this is some good hash, actually. Actually have a here nearby. My nudge, boys. Anybody want a nudge? Guess a nudge there, boy, will ya? I'll bite you off a bit there, boy. It smells lovely, in fairness. But yeah, it's like fucking hash always brings me back, man, having little nudges like this. It's not soap bar, thank God. But still, nonetheless, it's got that old school. It's got a very nice old school hash smell to it. Yeah, it's nostalgic, nice and daily. Smoke's lovely too. No nodge burns either, which is fucking brilliant. That's one thing you wouldn't miss, man. Nodge burns. Remember the days going home with your brand new tracksuit and you're just like, man, I swear I was doing a bit of welding. Like, I was definitely welding. Like, just like you never touched a welder in your life. Amy Riley, wow, 50 viewers live. Nice one, Amy. And nice active hotbox out there as well. It's always great crack. Others out there just looking through rashes. Everybody saying hey to Amy. Looks soft. It's not as soft as like some of the soft hash I've had, but it's soft enough where you can like scrape it with your nail. You can break little bits off with your nail. I'd imagine if you were to hold it in your hand for maybe a bit longer, it would get a bit softer, I suppose, definitely. But right now at room temperature, it's stiff enough. And you get a good hour out of these doobies as well, in fairness. Like, some people out there are like saying, oh, I can't afford to smoke pure. It's like, man, these things last you ages. You don't be too quick to roll up another one after or it's either, because they do the trick. Daily Talker says for nostalgia. Yeah, Podge saying there nothing wrong with soap back in the day either. No, there wasn't, in fairness, but it gets an awful stick these days. Like, I remember some really nice fucking quality soap bar hash that we got back in the day. Like, really nice stuff, like. But at the same time, I remember some fucking pure dog shit as well. Like, you know, and you'd be getting bits of plastic and shoelaces and God only knows what else you'd be finding inside your nodges. Bit of squidgy black now, that'd be nice to come across. Quality, good proper squidgy black too, like, you know. Daily Hook, I remember one time you said you'd smoke some soap. Yeah, I can, yeah, definitely remember having some nice soap bar as well. uh, when was the last time you actually seen soap bar? Seriously, like, it's extinct now, yeah? I chopped to all 10 spot. Right. Right, we're coming to the end of this thing. And I think we're coming to the natural conclusion here of the stream. Nice one, everybody, for tuning in. Hopefully you all enjoyed the little session. Got through one or two little 420 headlines there, little cannabis-related headlines from mostly around Ireland. One from Australia there. Apologies for not being a bit more prepared. As I said, you know, just dealing with a lot of stuff there with family and things at the moment. And obviously people recovering here from COVID too. It's been pretty fucking hands-on. But as I said, hopefully in the coming weeks I'll be a lot more free. Hopefully everybody will be a lot more better health-wise, and I'll have more time to give then to the campaign. So I'll be back, guys, with more 420 news later on in the week. Until then, though, stay blazed and keep her lit. Much love. Peace.